that was on the ballots. Let's take a look at Robert Pullenmouth's statement.
Why don't we have so many interviews,
yes.
Anita, why don't we go ahead and talk to, well, we talked to Otis Ganoza earlier, so why don't we play that interview right now?
Absolutely.
And we're with Otis Ganoza, the Deputy City Manager of the City of Lawndale. Thanks for coming in and joining us for a few minutes.
Yes, and while I'm the Deputy City Manager, I have a functional title, which is Community Development Director, which basically means I supervise most of the activities regarding building in this city, planning, building review, housing, and our grants programs here.
And these include capital improvement programs. Now, I know that we interviewed you in the last election, and you talked to us quite a bit about the different parks and the project that you were interested in actually getting going, the community center, and all that has actually been accomplished. And talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, some of the things have been accomplished, and some of them were delayed a little bit, so we're still working on them. One of the things that if you interviewed me in the last election, we probably didn't have our new community center
finished.
That's right.
Which is beautiful.
It's a wonderful project. It's up and running now, and it's actually worked out better than I think a lot of us imagined. I think the first time I actually went over there in the evening after it was opened up, I went there for a public meeting we're having, and I sat up on one of the upper floors, and I looked over, and there was a folklorico class going on in one room. There was a karate class going on in the other room. And we had an area with tables and chairs, and it was full of high school kids studying for school. And so it's really immediately was the community center we hoped it would be.
Now, for people that don't know about that building, new building, how many activities can be going on at once?
Oh, there actually can be a lot of activities. We have a dance room, so you can have with a hardwood floor, so you could have a dance class, an exercise class going on in there. There are meeting rooms, so if there was a community organization, say like the Kiwanis or the leaders of Little League, and they need to get together and talk somewhere, well, we have a meeting room for them. We also have a big activity room that could be divided in two, and that's where we have our karate class. Or it could accommodate two little karate classes at the same time. And then if for a really big event, say all of our seniors in town want to get together, say 100 of them, and have a big lunch together, which happens about once a month. We have a big room that can accommodate a lot of people, and it also has a stage. So, and in addition to city activities, it can also help people have their own family events.
Really? People
will rent the large activity room in our community center for weddings, you could have it for a bat mitzvah. You could have it, people have it quite a bit for big birthday parties and other celebrations.
So how do people get to do that?
Well, they just have to contact us. There's a rental fee. Of course, we have to have a deposit. If you want to serve alcohol, we have to make sure that there are police officers present to check IDs.
Okay, now you're not there personally tasting, right?
Oh, no. But, and in fact, some organizations that have their own meeting facilities will still come over here because they like ours better. For instance, the school districts around here sometimes have meetings in our building, and was a lot of fun. Environmental Charter High School had their senior prom in our community center. So it can be for anybody who needs just a big space to have something fun in.
It's been a major achievement. Now, I know that another major goal is to increase city-assessed valuations, sales tax, and other city revenues and grants that are available to the city. And again, in our last interview, you had talked about the loan that you had gotten for, I think it was $18 million, is that correct? So how did that all go about?
$18 million loan.
Yes, that's what you had mentioned, I think, in the last election. It was a redevelopment agency. It issued bonds in that amount for different projects. So how did that all go about?
Well, the redevelopment agency issued $18 million in bonds, which for people who aren't familiar with public bonds, it's sort of like taking out a mortgage. The city promises to pay a certain amount of money every year and then gets a big pile of money to make public facilities. So the first thing we did with that is build the community center you see behind you.
Absolutely.
A number of streets have been improved. We have another project that's underway right now, which is a expansion of an existing park. For residents who are familiar with Hogan Tot Lot, it's an older park that was built, I think 50 years ago. It's quite small. One of our staff members had a great idea. He said, we've got a street next door to this park. It's used very little, so why don't we close the street and expand the park into where the street is now? We were able to double the size of the park. So what we've done is that park has been planned. We had community meetings. We had architects draw up a set of plans. And we're very close to starting construction. All we have to do right now is we're working with the utility companies to move the water lines and the power lines out from where we want to build a park. They're rerouting them. And probably by this summer, we'll be under construction in that park. People can watch the progress for a year or so. And then we'll have a nice brand new park for Lawndale residents.
Well, that's terrific, because park space has been kind of a problem here in the city of Lawndale.
In fact, the city of Lawndale has less park space than any other community in the South Bay per resident. And that's really a problem. Los Angeles County the county health department did a big study. And they looked at communities with lots of parkland and with a little bit of parkland, and then they also looked at the health of our children. And what they found out is that communities that had little parkland tended to have high childhood obesity rates.
Absolutely. That's been a major issue that I know the city of Lawndale has been dealing with for the past few years, and having major parks is going to absolutely help with the children coming out to the parks, having exercise classes, or actually just exercising, fitness and all that. That's going to hopefully be a major development towards that.
And when we saw that report, our city council became quite concerned, the health of our children. So they went on this major effort to build new parks. And so we've got one completed, Hopper Park. We've got Hogan Tot Lot, which will start construction soon. And we have another park.
The Larch Avenue.
Larch Avenue Park. It is currently being designed. And we hope that sometime around
2015, 2016?
Early 2015, we'll see construction. Construction will go on for a year and a half or so, and then Lawndale will have its third new park.
Wow. So what else is on the drawing board for the city of Lawndale?
Well, that's our pretty ambitious schedule taking us out the next few years. Unfortunately, a lot of this was funded by our redevelopment agency. The state of California got rid of redevelopment agencies. And so we're seeing the last of the redevelopment money being spent on these parks. Hopefully there will be grant programs in the future to bring us other new parks. I would have to say Larch Avenue was a park that was mostly funded with grants. The city of Lawndale applied for a $4 million grant from the state of California.
Along with TPL?
Yes, along with the Trust for Public Land. It was a very competitive grant program. I think only 1 out of 8 applicants were funded. But we were able to explain to the state of California how few parks Lawndale has. They thought this was a deserving community, and we got $4 million to make that park possible.
Well, congratulations.
Wonderful. Yes. And are you excited about tonight?
It's always interesting to have an election in town.
It has a different feel without Mr. Harold Hoffman. It's completely different elections without a man who was so pivotal in the role of the city. But overall, it's going to be interesting to see
It will be. We will certainly get at least eventually get one new face on our city council, and usually with a new person come a lot of new ideas.
Absolutely.
The legacy of Harold Hoffman goes over 30 years here in the city of Lawndale. I'm sure that you have some anecdotal story about Harold.
Well, he was a real character. He really looked out after the interests of individual Lawndale residents, and I would say I had him maybe more times than I would like in my office, demanding to know why somebody's street was in bad repair, why some construction project that he didn't think was being built right was being built the way it was. This library out here, why he was out just about every day during construction. He was the second construction supervisor. And
I'm sure he had a tool belt on too.
Yes, yes, and if he thought something wasn't being constructed right or constructed fast enough, we heard about it. But the result is we have a really nice library.
All right, well, we'll see who fills those big shoes.
Yes.
Here coming up later on tonight. And I want to thank you, Otis, for joining us for a few minutes.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your time.
Okay.
I want to thank Otis Ganoza for joining us earlier today, and because of their busy schedules, Anita, we have to get these guys and gals when we can.
Absolutely, yes. It's been a pleasure being able to speak to these wonderful, key, instrumental people in the city. And
along with Anita Khalatbari, I'm Lou Stowers, and you are watching City TV's live presentation of the City of Lawndale's municipal election, where the big election is going to be focused on who is going to be the next mayor of Lawndale.
Absolutely, and we can hear that busy beehive in there. Everything is getting busier by the second, isn't it?
That's right. We can hear those ballots rolling through the counter. And why don't we reset who the
candidates are running tonight. Yes, absolutely. So we have the vacant seat for the mayor of the city of Lawndale, and we have two people running for it. Robert Pullen Miles, who is the incumbent, who's currently the city council member. He is running for the mayor, and also Dan Reed is running for that seat.
That's right. Dan Reed is endorsed by many of the local city government people, including Doris